I had a wee thought the other day um, about how life has moved on and how technology, we're just surrounded by technology. And I kind of had the thought because I ordered a bit of kit to try and sort of enhance my YouTube channel. Um, and then that got me thinking about Christ, how much media has moved on um, from the days when I was a child. When I was born, there was only two TV channels. And towards 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, what you got at the end of that was either this or this. And that was it. That was your TV for the day. Um, I remember being a child and mainly watching, I'd only watch Doctor Who on a Saturday night. I'd always be terrified on a Saturday tea time, either frightened by Daleks or Cybermen or something like that. And then the only other thing I used to watch was Star Trek on a Wednesday night because my dad used to shout me in from out from the cul-de-sac. He would shout me in, and I would go in and watch Star Trek with him. And then apart from that, I would, sit on the chair with my little cowboy gun, and I would be shooting the bad guys, the Indians, off their horses, which was ironic, really, because obviously later on in life I realised that the Indians weren't the bad guys. It was the cowboys who were stealing their land. But such is media and how it can twist the reality. Um, in those days, I didn't really um, stay in. I was out all the time. And as a kid, I have memories of beautiful summer times, 7 weeks of getting sunburnt and playing football, playing hide and seek, chapdoor run, kick the can, going fishing and, digging up bait, enough bait to last a month and then leaving it in the garage for weeks for my dad to only then discover it and go mental with the stench. Um, and, we would just basically, our childhood was just full of these kind of games, going away and catching butterflies and bees and, caterpillars and playing, tennis season. We would have the tennis rackets out, we'd be playing squash. If we were, eventually we managed to get our hands on a golf club, maybe when we got slightly older, and we would take a ball up the field and knock it around. And that was really, that was my sort of childhood. And even remember this, this sort of magical moment in my life because I was very musical as a child and very much my head was full of Broadway and all these things. And I maybe at some point thought that that was going to be my future. And my brother captured it beautifully in this photograph here. Doesn't do me any good, I'm afraid. It's certainly my Billy Elliot moment. But the digital world didn't exist, you know, and the first sort of smell, if you like, of things changing, I mean, and I remember we had a phone and it was a party line, and you didn't get access to the phone. There was a padlock on the phone. So you didn't use it all the time. And at the same time, you used to have to, feed 50 pence pieces into the meter. So it was a very sort of basic lifestyle. Um, and, everybody always seems to, older people always seem to reflect on, their early life and always say it was simpler, it was better times. And I can't pretend that I don't feel that because I do. Life was much, much simpler. Um, And I suppose, I got the sort of whiff of electronics sooner than a lot of people because my brother was doing an electronics course. He was in the Royal Fleet Auxiliary and he was an electrician, but he'd sort of branched over into electronics. And he was building computers way before anybody, would know what a computer was in a house. And I even remember him building, early Pong consoles and the two bats going up and down, and you could have six bats if it was going to be a football game and that kind of thing. But my really first memory of the digital world was probably the LCD digital watch. And there's always a rich kid in the class. There's always somebody who gets everything that's going. And I remember, I think I was in first year when this chap had one of these watches, or a watch very similar to that. And I was absolutely mesmerised by it, the magic of this lighting up the time. It was really just fantastic. Um, and we didn't take photographs. We couldn't just take them willy nilly. I've got a lot of motorbikes in my past that I I don't have any photographs of them because you needed a camera, you needed a film, you need to go and get developed. And a lot of the time, I didn't have the money, I didn't have the camera, or I didn't have the money to get it developed. And so I missed out on a lot of photographs as a child. Sorry, a lot of photographs as a young adult, a young teenager. Um, and there's a lot of things I didn't capture. Nowadays, of course, we can take photographs from many different devices, and phones are used willy-nilly all the time now to take photographs. It's they all they do now is buckle down our email when people send them back and forward to each other. Um, and it really was, a time where I didn't really get overly involved in the digital world at all. My first home computer, this was my room when I was, I think about 17. This is what I had, my Atari 400. And that was my, first experience of the home computer. Um, and, in those days, you just, games were not that exciting. The days of loading in tapes of your favorite computer game, and you would sit there for ages. And when it first came up with the splash screen of the game, it was like, oh, this looks great. And then it would just get to the bitty little blobs on the screen. And even nowadays, when you look at computer games and how amazing they are, how lifelike they can almost become, it's quite amazing. But anyway, it got me thinking about YouTube and why I got into YouTube. And I got into YouTube because I thought at the time, it was an opportunity for me to capture my motorcycling adventures. And that one day I would look back on these videos, and I'd maybe get some enjoyment out of them, especially if I'm not riding anymore, or I haven't got the money to buy bikes, or I'm just too old to do so. And that was really why I started out on YouTube. I didn't do it to, I wasn't doing it to become famous or anything. I'm far too lazy and slap happy with my video productions to ever think that's going to happen. But, I had the channels a couple of times and I deleted them. And that'll lead into the second video. But I deleted them basically because I was feeling a bit of a hypocrite about the way I was, portraying the channel, and the way that I was, reviewing these motorcycles, and that will be a separate story. But initially, I lost a lot of good videos because I kind of took a wee huff on myself and shut them down and thought, no, I'm just being a hypocrite here. And that happened to me twice over the sort of 10-year period that I was kind of dabbling with YouTube. And now I'm trying to sort of build it up again and just try and put a bit of variance into it. And this is where the idea came up for everything that I do is measured in miles. And I just thought, right, well, I'll try and enhance it a little bit. I'll try and now that hopefully I've got over most of the madness that I will talk about in another video. But now that I seem to be past most of that, I just wanted to capture what I'm doing now as well as I can. And that suddenly, you realize that you've got all these great um, tools at hand, your computer, your editing software, your cameras, your drones, all this marvelous stuff that you can now bring in. And, I look around and watch, when we go back to the TV analogy, that we had two TV channels. And now we've got Netflix and Sky and, Virgin and, all these different TV streaming channels and television channels that we can stream on it, devices from computers to TVs to mobile phones and tablets. And you can basically watch on the go anywhere now. Um, and of course, YouTube has come to the forefront as the sort of, it's almost like it's the people's channel because everybody gets to do what they want to do within reason, obviously. But, if you want to um, expose your hobby to other people or your hobbies, there's an opportunity to do that. It's become a great source for learning things. If you want to know how to cut a bit of wood straight or, how to operate the latest bit of equipment you bought, or just actually get some reviews on things that you're thinking about buying. Um, it's just become this great source for doing all these things, as well as the fact that there's people who are making great channels and great sources of material. When I think back to Long Way Round and Ewan McGregor and Charlie Borman and their little trip round the world on their adventure bikes, which seemed to drive the whole madness of the adventure world now. Um, and you watch somebody like Itchy Boots, and I was on some forum somewhere, and someone had described her as a YouTube whore, basically. And I just couldn't quite understand why anybody would be so nasty, um, but knock that girl for what she does. She goes around the world on her own, um, bravely, in and out these countries. She doesn't know what she's going to come up against. And she's doing everything. She's riding her bike solo, she's doing the filming, she's putting the whole series together. It's, whether you like her as a person or not, it's tremendous when you think what she's doing up against what, the Long Way Round crew did, with all their backup and, niceties to help them out along the way. People like Itchy Boots and Nathan the Postman, and all these various people that are doing wondrous things around the world and filming it for our entertainment. It's just one of those wondrous things that's come out of YouTube. And I really, I'm amazed at how much YouTube seems to fill my life and seems to fill a lot of people's lives. And it's a good source for many reasons and an enjoyable one. So I guess I just wanted to quickly make this video because, I'm from a time when all of this didn't exist. And this year, I collect my bus pass this year, and I think, Christ Almighty, where has all the years gone, and how much has things changed since I was a lad? The good old days, definitely. Well, I definitely cherish them. I definitely cherish my past. I definitely enjoy the simpleness of it. But equally, I quite enjoy all the technology and the chance to do the things that I'm doing now. So the good old days are definitely never going to leave me. And I suppose if I live long enough, this might become the good old days too. Anyway, thanks for watching. And in the next video that I'm going to do, I'm going to talk about the madness of my motorcycle world, which will help to explain a little bit why I created the workshop, why I destroyed two YouTube channels. Um, but that's for another day. Anyway, enjoy your long weekend, your long holiday weekend. Whatever hobby, whatever you do, whatever your happiness is coming from, take care, play it safe. Catch you later. Bye.